Today on the most pointless tier list, because everyone already knows the answer before the video even starts, I'm here for one last finding the best thing in Diablo 2. The Mercenary is an annoyingly unavoidable component of the game, since without one it'll prove extremely hard to solo the game by yourself. This is because they make up for your own personal shortcomings. While a cool concept to have to rely on a friend to assist you in fighting specific monsters, the developers could have spent a little more time balancing their strengths against one another. Everyone and their grandmother, hell, everyone and their great-grandmother know who the elephant is in the room this time around. The Desert Mercenary is commonly used, and by commonly I mean practically always picked because we're boring players who enslave ourselves to metas. Let's not jump to the conclusion we all expect though, because a bug you may not be aware of, but you can actually pick 3 other types of mercenaries, each one bringing their own strengths and benefits. Act 1 presents us with the Rogue Archer, who is able to equip bows and do nothing. Act 3 gives us the Iron Wolf, who is proficient with magical spells and does nothing. Act 5 gives us the Almighty Chad, who is proficient with swords. They do nothing as well, but I could care less, honestly. But I am jumping around too much. We're supposed to be finding the best mercenary in Diablo 2. Let's get the rules down and then let's talk tier lists. I'm going to give you 2 sections per merc, those being the general power and then how the gearing process is. To determine their overall strength, we're talking hell exclusively, none of those balanced difficulties here. In normal, every merc is a valid option, so we're looking into the real juicy part of the game. Power will discuss the top end ability the merc can possess to clear mobs. This will factor in the greatest gear possible, of course, because otherwise what are we even talking about? For gearing, I'll give an honest critique of how difficult the process is. This is surprisingly where the race can be quite close, since everyone's favorite child has some restrictive elements, so to speak. Note of warning, all the footage you will be seeing is D2 Classic because I need my pluggy stash to make some of these trash cans untrash can-like. Okay, no more delay, here is some debate. The Rogue Mercenary is criminally underrated since unlike the other mercenaries, she typically doesn't stick her face right up into the Death Lords that are cruising around. Before the creation of this video, I was surprised to see just how powerful she could be. With an admittedly amazingly expensive setup, she can not only help with some crowd control, but she can also straight up dish out the pain. I mean, give her 5 frickin' days and she was able to kill Mephisto, which is impressive. Of course, the player can do it in like 3 seconds, but anyway, give her some credit. And still, being able to kill things is impressive, especially because she tends to stay alive. I Tanya, you Tanya, we all Tanya on this wonderful day where the Act 1 mercenary proves to be quite good. With the choice between fire and ice arrows, with fire arrows being dumped because they do nothing, and ice arrows being good because they are ice arrows, she can help with magical and physical immunities. Gearing is where it's a bit questionable. She's not exactly running with great choices, mostly because bows are typically remarkably shit. Using Harmony, she's able to give you fanaticism, which is amazing. Additionally, helmets can be great for keeping enemies at bay or just increasing her overall raw damage. Many different body armors are good for keeping her alive, but they range from expensive to why waste all this money? That's probably the biggest hang-up. Without good gear, really namely a bow on par with Wind Force or Harmony, there's not a lot of pizzazz to the Rogue Mercenary. Arrows are pretty slow, the AI pathing can be dumb. If you can teleport, she can shoot an arrow every single time, meaning that you can safely travel around and plink groups without difficulty, which proves to be a useful tech. We'll give her an arbitrary 3 Desert Mercs out of 5 for her ability to not be dog shit. Okay, so I'm putting the guy we're all familiar with last because he's overly discussed anyway. Let me get into my childhood's favorite option, but adult me's most depressing pick. I have tried so hard to make this heap of a man useful. I don't think it's possible, even with the greatest gear setups in the game. The problem is that this mercenary uses spells, all of which are not strong enough to help you in a meaningful way. Regarding his power, he ranges from abysmal to dismal, which is incredibly sad. I spent longer on this guy than any of the others, and I couldn't get him to do anything. You get a choice of fire, lightning, or frost-centric mercs. Each one gets to pull a couple spells from the sorcerer's tree. Unfortunately, the selections are all underwhelming, especially considering that this guy is insane. He'll walk into the face of a group and shoot spells very slowly. You can help him shoot spells quicker with gear, but that is the problem. This merc has the oddest gear choices possible. Basically, the vanilla pick for an Act 3 merc is Double Spirit, Skin of the Viper Magi, and Shaco. What is best, and what I had hoped would be far better, was running elemental increasing stuff. I literally had the coincidental best gear possible for this guy in every spec too. Fire is stunningly bad. He uses Inferno and Fireball, both of which do next to nothing. I gave him a Phoenix, a bunch of plus skills, faster cast rate. I had to give him Tyrael's Might for the strength requirement for Phoenix. And yeah, he couldn't solo a single mob. Dude's name is Scorch, probably because he's named after what he's doing to my wallet. Frost is nearly abysmal, save by the fact that it can slow things down. Using Glacial Spike, Ice Blast, and having frozen armor, this is marginally helpful, useful. The damage, while somewhat better, is total trash. I have an ethereal Nightwing's Veil, an ethereal Ormus Robes, and 2 spirits, and this guy can't figure out how to deal damage. It's actually not even upsetting, it's pissing me off. Finally, I went all out for the lightning variant, which, surprise, surprise, is still bad. Not nearly as much as the other two, because he does use lightning at least, but unfortunately, he also uses charge bolt way too often, which does next to nothing. Decked with a Griffin's Eye Diadem, a lightning skill Ormus, and 2 spirits, or 2 Dream Rune Words instead of the helm and shield slot. And as a benefit for my merc, I am using the Big Stick Infinity myself. My sorcerer is pulling out the strength requirement and nerfing myself to make him even stronger, and guess what? He still finds a way to somehow be mediocre. Even after investing an insane amount of currency to this setup, it's not good. He can kill things, but he can't really do anything well. Even with my concept that we'd both be partners in crime, lightning shooting casters, I was doing 90% of the work. At least he's here to help until he's dead all the time. I even tried building him like an aura didn't, giving him rune words that gave him auras built in. Didn't help him. Okay, we're on to the Chad himself. I have praise for this mercenary because he really can step up and slam. The Act 5 Merc uses Stun and Bash, which are underwhelming, of course. Thank you for giving me a Barb who has an attended Bald and Whirlwind school. You can equip this guy with swords and he can't even hold 2 at once for some reason. I know why this guy's name is Qual Keck, because he's kecking all the way to the bank with my money. The one thing that is good about this guy is that with the best rune words and rune word bases you can find, he really slams. You can give him Lawbringer to cast Decrepify all over the place, making him whack really good, slow things down, etc. Additionally, Lawbringer gives you Sanctuary Aura, which allows him to whack undead mobs as well, since it removes their physical immunities, a really good benefit to have. I also tried out Last Wish, which gives like 100 benefits, as well as Might Aura, so I basically had a weirder Act 2 mercenary. It was pretty good, especially since the life tap proc in conjunction with the aura really pumped me up. Easily able to have 100% crushing blow made him strong, but he was easy to kill, which puts a damper on the whole idea. Gearing the Act 5 mercenary is pretty easy. You need all sorts of good items, but can be a lot more budget. Lawbringer is very cheap, and the base can be a lot of different things. You sometimes don't need the best items in the game, and the other items can just be whatever offers him good defensive or offensive benefits. All in all, a total Chad pick, just without any other inherent benefits. Unlike, the Act 2 mercenary is sometimes better than you are. Without joke, this guy is so busted, it's insane. Firstly, there's a lot of good pole arms that are usually not good for you to use, so without Emilio, they're going to collect dust. Honestly, instead of discussing the merits of the Act 2 merc in comparison with the others, it might be more prudent to make a tier list of the names of these guys. Okay, here's the rub. The Act 2 merc gets to have Paladin auras built into his ass for free. I question why this is the case, since the other 3 types have nothing baked into them. I get it, he really doesn't have a special attack, but he actually does have a special attack. But that would be in no way a problem anyway, since he just gives you some of the greatest effects in the game for free. Decked out with good gear, the guy is tanky as shit, deals a ton of damage, and gives you a lot of benefits depending on your rune word usage. Even without rune words at all, you can give this guy decent uniques, and he's going to go to town on everything, cleaning up anything you can't kill. Not even discussing the Big Stick, which is the best thing for any caster build in the game, save for poison-based skills, which are based poison skills. Yeah, to be honest, there's not too much to say that isn't known. Act 2 mercs slap hard. Gearing is a range from easy to very hard, but the best benefit the merc has is that they can get by on cheap budgets. These guys scale really well, allowing them to be useful in almost every difficulty in Act, so long as you have something relatively good for them. So there's our 4, and as if it's not obvious, here's our ranking. Coming in at 4th is the Iron Wolves, completely terrible no matter what. Coming in at 3rd place, we have the Rogues, pretty good if you go hard, otherwise they are exceptionally weak. Runner-up has to go to the Chads, because even with mediocre setups, he slaps pretty well. Which of course leaves us with, hang on. I realized this as I typed the ending to this segment, that this is just objective reasoning, and the Chad superior subjective logic would dictate that the best merc in Diablo 2 is all of them. This game has so many different playstyles, and you know what? Fuck it. Barbarian is the best merc in Diablo 2. Just kidding, it's the Act 2 merc. Game's a piece of shit. Well, thanks for watching. This has been fun. Good to discuss topics with answers that are completely well defined. At this point, we've discussed the rune words, the items, even the non-items, every class in the game, and finally the mercs. I really did enjoy my finding series. That format felt really enjoyable. So, speaking of mercs and finding the best class in the game, I think it's time to start a new series. Series spelled with 2 E's. Me clever, me right.